Hello folks, I decided to show you a game that I played today online. It's a blitz game, but as you can see it has got some merit to it because of the players are quite fairly high rated on Reacher standards anyway. I'm 2550 at the moment and my opponent was 2540, so I thought that it was something worthy of sharing. I skipped the opening moves mostly because it's something that I consider to be rather irrelevant. Enough said if I say that it was an Alakine defense, and even within that a line that I consider to be rather harmless or even silly to play as black, because you end up in a very passive position like this. Now in this position my opponent played h6, which is always designed to create a flight square for the bishop back on the diagonal if I attack it. Whereupon I played rook e1. I'm still sort of floating the idea whether the bishop should develop this way or this way. And here my opponent played something that I consider to be the best and pretty much the only plan for black to sort of stay in the game without major damage, major positional damage, and that move was pawn a5. It is a very annoying move against this pawn structure because ideally I would like to avoid any kind of pawn swaps, but if I were to play a3, which I can't do now because I'm not in analysis mode, then after pawn a4 I can't push through with b4 because then my pawn on c4 would be hanging. So here I was started to think about how to maintain my definitely pleasant position, and I was pondering about c5 for a while, but after knight d5, if I take e takes d back, the position becomes very symmetrical and rather even. So in the end I thought, okay, I will play a4, I will surrender, excuse me, I will surrender the b4 square because it's still not the end of the world, and I will maintain a rather active position. The only concern is that if black is able to break up with c5 and then swap off this pawn for this one and then plant a knight on c5, then this whole pawn structure here on the queen side for white becomes not only perfectly rigid, because it already is, but I'm full of targets that black can easily attack. So I was a little bit concerned here as to what to do about c5, and indeed c5 did arrive, and I spent a good 20-30 seconds in this position pondering about how to get the most of it, and eventually a very interesting idea came to me. I up to date don't know if it's sound or not, and I haven't even tested it with Ripka or any other engine for that matter, but I realized that if I could maintain the initiative, it would be even worth an exchange. And then this knight b5 idea came to me, and the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. So eventually I went for it even without calculating much. It's clear to see that the knight is an absolutely dominant piece on b5 because it is threatening to jump in here, hitting the rook, the bishop and the pawn, and at the same time, by removing the knight from the long diagonal, I'm opening up the prospects of this bishop towards g7 very nicely, and funnily enough my other long diagonal bishop on g2 is going to have a target down that way as well. And let's face it, losing a rook right now for a piece means nothing, since my opponent's rooks have zero open files, and in fact it would take them forever to get onto an open file. So my opponent took on e1, I took it back with the knight, which actually was a mouse slip, thank the Lord, because I wanted to take with queen, but once I made this mouse slip I realized that knight takes recapture was a lot stronger because it opened up my bishop, as mentioned before, towards the target, as well as knight d6 is pending, and if he were to take on d4 I can take with the queen, which creates an immediate mate threat down on g7. So I was very happy that I took that way, and my opponent immediately went wrong, which only goes to show that there is a serious pressure in this position. In fact, after CD, I think the best and most accurate. It's so annoying. I can't play these moves. I will check on whether I can do it on lichess and analysis mode with the game. So if they were to take, I would play knight d6. Rook goes to either of these squares. I take, pawn takes, and then queen takes back, threatening mate and threatening that pawn. Most likely white is already a lot better. My opponent, however, made my job a lot easier by playing queen d8, which was an immediate blunder, because after takes, knight takes. Now you can see that there are lots of unguarded pieces on the board, And as the brilliant John Nunn said, LPDO, which stands for lose, pieces drop off, a single and simple double attack on the pawn and the knight decided the game right away. My opponent had to cover the mate and lost the knight, and with that the game. The rest was very simple. I just swapped off everything in my way, and my two cheeky knights ended up causing quite a lot of headache to him, although he could have resigned already here, but he decided to drag the game out quite a bit. So I kept on munching pawns everywhere, and he even fell for this fork. And after a couple of more moves, he realized that further resistance was useless. So that was a game. I thought it was quite a good positional achievement, and this positional exchange sacrifice, I think, was an idea that was worthy of putting it in a video. I hope that you liked it and maybe even learned something from it. And if so, please stay with me, subscribe, and I will be back with more soon. Thanks for watching.